Are you looking to start and to scale your business in 2026? This episode is exactly for you. Hello, my name is Nhlakanipho Ngwagahadebe, and welcome to All Things Leadership Podcast, where we believe that every believer is a leader. You do not start from where you hope to be, but you start from where you are. Today, I have a great privilege of interviewing one of the people that are leveling up in the business world, and her name is Khanya Buthelezi. Asmamgeleni sonke. Welcome. Thanks for
Thank you for having me.
siyabonga ngokufika nje kwakho, you know. Out of everything that you would choose to do, why business?
Why business? Oh my goodness. It's weird. I don't think ukuthi I chose to do business. I
Okay.
think business kind of chose me, Yeah. So I didn't set out, I didn't grow up thinking ukuthi I was going to be a businesswoman or an entrepreneur. I never had that. Otherwise, I would have studied that. There's so many things growing up that I thought I was going to be, but business or a business person was not one of them. So that's why
Wow.
I say ukuthi kind of business chose me.
It chose you. How did it choose you? So you went into a workplace, and
Yes.
and then you realized that you can do this thing on your own type of situation.
Yes. So I started working very early. Ne? I didn't go to university like everyone. After school, I left South Africa and I went overseas because I had a discussion with my parents and I said, no, I don't think I'm going to do a degree. I've been accepted into all the universities that I'm going to go on. But I said, I think I'm going to travel. I'm going to leave South Africa and I'm going to go and see.
You're brave, bruh.
Lalela. I'm gonna go and see if what's out there for me, And then I started working, and then I never looked back, kind of thing. It was just
Sure.
like from the age of 19, I started working. But one thing I noticed by being in the workplace is that you can excel. Njengoba I'm a sportswoman. I grew up very big in sports, did sport kakhulu in high school and primary school. But for me, it's always about excelling. So I would go into a workspace and I would excel.
Sure.
Yeah, born and learned.
Yeah.
So I think over to that's when I started gaining confidence in myself, and gaining confidence in being able to do things and do them well.
Sure.
Yeah, born. And once you've done that and you've got a track record and you've done that a couple of times and you've excelled and you've been promoted in 17, you start to be more confident and you think, okay, maybe I can do this.
Yep.
Yeah, bon?
Yep.
And then you try it and you see, and then you win at it and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I can do this.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I got into business. So guy look and new, and eventually I became a waste manager for a company that I used to work for, and I did that for a couple of years, and then I went through some times in my life that made me feel that I needed to make more money, and I thought, okay, I've been doing this for somebody else, lining another person's pockets with my talents
Yeah.
and my gifts. So maybe I can actually do this for myself. And the
Wow.
only reason why I gained that confidence was because I had started a division within that company from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's
Wow.
the only reason. Had I not done that, been thrown in the deep end, I don't think I would have had the confidence to have started a business.
Wow. Yo, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And at 19, what was your first job?
At 19, my first job was working for a sports chain in Kulunje. They are in the UK, in Oxford. So I moved to Oxford and I worked.
Oxford Dictionary.
Oxford Dictionary. That's one. I get to know Oxford and then the Oxford Brooks. So there's two universities. There's the Oxford University and there's Oxford Brooks. So I lived in Oxford and I worked for a sports store called JJB Sports. And the only reason why I worked for JJB is because I was into sports. Everything in my life was revolved around sports. So getting figure in JUK, I got a job at JJB and I worked as like a sales executive
What?
on the shop floor.
Sure. And what was your most traumatic experience in terms of sales over there?
In terms of sale, my most traumatic was, so after taking care of the ladies department, I even have pictures. One day I'll show you.
Yes.
Taking care of the ladies department, HJJB, they started promoting me and teaching me other things within the business. And then they said the one time we were really busy, and one of the ladies that runs the cash register, the till, that the people pay Gwen was not there. I think she wasn't well, and there was one person, our assistant manager Kim, and then they called me, but angize mina ngizongena ethilini, because I grasped things quickly. I was like, showcase, I can do this.
Sure.
Anyway, so I go to the till and I start working at the till during the day. I didn't know what things would turn out, but then I go be busy. And because I was still very slow, one of the ladies, now the British are they can be very cutthroat and can be very mean.
Sure.
Like not all of them, but some of them. And this lady like swore me, one talk, this customer. And I cried. Tears.
No.
Tears. They streamed down my face. I ran around the till. Ngahamba ngayo toilet. Ngayokhala khona toilet.
Sure. And
I would never. That's the most traumatic thing I'd ever been through.
Yeah.
Because I didn't just my emotions. I didn't think that was a kind of reaction or that when I always had people receiving me well because I always greeted people with a smile. And I thought, everyone was going to receive me well. And then I experienced a little bit of trouble, but not just a little bit of trouble in terms of the work that I was doing. And I was still trying to get through it. But I was like, please, can you just be patient with me a little bit? I'm just going to sort you out.
Yeah.
I'm going to call the manager. She's going to come. Yeah.
Sure.
She was not having it, that lady.
Didn't Zulu want to come out from you? Sometimes when someone is shouting at you in English, hey, the Zulu wants to come out.
I think I was still young. I was still very fragile. Had she done that to me now, I would have been like, hey.
Oh, yeah, when? Yay. Yeah, dragging look.
But back then, I was young. And that was my first encounter of somebody just being really, like... I would have dealt with anger just on its own, but the swearing that threw me off completely.
Sure.
So that was very traumatizing for me.
Were you feeling lonely at the time this incident happened?
No. I was feeling like I got this, I was feeling like I was at the top. I think maybe I was really disappointed at myself more than that lady. It wasn't even about her shouting at me and just being that kind of customer. That was my first encounter of an irate customer. We call them irate customers. That was the first time I had an encounter with a customer that's completely like losing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but then after that, I was able to bounce back and do my thing. But it was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What is this?
Sure.
I wasn't feeling lonely. I wouldn't say Guti. I think I was feeling emotional. I was very emotional.
Sure.
So I think fragile. Yeah,
sure.
That was the only thing. So that is my first horrible experience when it comes to having a customer, encounter and sales. I would say encounter.
And then how do you end up in the waste business? Because you look very classy and glamorous. We can categorize you with the beauty industry, and or accounting, and then why waste?
I get that question a lot. So I was headhunted because after I came back from the UK, I started working in logistics. I worked for a big trucking company, and I worked in logistics. And obviously, waste is logistics. It's just that it's more specialized. So we also have trucks, just like everyone else. We also keep the trucks, the wheels turning, and you have to keep the wheels turning in the transport sector. Now waste, it's like that. So I worked as a key accounts manager. I worked as a business development officer. I worked as a sales executive and grew and climbed my way to key account manager. And once I got there, I was headhunted into a company called Wasteman, like Pietermaritzburg. So after the trucking company, I worked for the Imperial Group. After the Imperial Group, I worked, I think, for a Korea RTT, a big Korea company. They're not so big now. I think Batango Korea guy. And then after that, I was headhunted by this waste management company. So if you're in sales, it doesn't matter what you're selling as long as you're good at what you're doing. And word would get around about how good this person is in doing sales. So eventually, and then I got into this company. I went for an interview. I mean, I'm coming from the logistics background. We wear our little outfits and as a air hostess. No cravat. I'm going into this waste management company, all prim and proper and cutesy. kanti nje ngizobafica imanager yakhona nabaphathi bakhona begqoke lowo phaqi.
Yes.
Like mina lapho ngigqoke iwedge.
Yeah.
Yabona?
Yeah.
So I've always had that school. Ngikhule from a very big corporate company, the Imperial Group, and it's all about image. So I mean, I've always held on to that. That's
Sure.
the reason why I'll always show up in this way.
Yeah.
Ngikhuliswe ngaleso skole,
Sure.
you know what I mean? So okay, that's how I got into the waste management sector. I didn't know anything about waste. This is now 2011. I waltzed in there to do an interview. They were looking for an account manager, so a sales executive for their branch like, in Maritzburg. And I walked in there and I did the interview and I got the job. Really, that headhunted me. They just wanted to know if it's I want to come into the company.
Sure.
You know, that's
so cool to be headhunted, eh? You must be very good.
I am very good.
Yeah.
No, I am very good at sales.
Sure.
Influence is no longer built in boardrooms or meeting rooms. Now it's built in your voice. At A46 Tech Studios, we make podcasting so simple, polished, and professional. No need to stress about technical stuff or learn about equipment. Only just your voice, your story, and your impact. Whether you're a CEO, a coach, a change maker, or a content creator, this is your moment. 2026 belongs to the voices that prepare now. Click the link below to join our waitlist.
Yeah.
What brought you back home in South Africa from abroad?
So in 2005, my dad passed away when I was in the UK. So I got...
No, my dad passed away in 2005.
Really?
No. I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was 21.
I was 15.
Then. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So 2005, my dad passed away on the same day as my grandfather.
Sure.
So I came back from Mngwabo, went back to the UK in 2006, beginning of the year. And then the UK was not the same for me because Ma was now home all by herself. And my mom at that time, she didn't like to drive and didn't like to do things. I mean, I was very, very boyish in doing things. But even growing up, I was very tomboyish.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was the person who needs to be driving for Ma. I was the person that needs to be there because we had lost my dad. So we were going through things, but I didn't want to be too apart from her for too long. Yeah. As much as I could have come back and renew a visa and go back to the UK, but my visa had expired, and I thought, let me just go back home, and see what home has got for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, that's so proper. And how many employees do you have now?
We are sitting on 18.
Here winner.
Yeah.
Just paint a picture for me from day one to getting to 18 employees.
Yes.
How do you do it?
So you'll be surprised who day one way to Tina, it started off with 7 employees. So day one way to, unlike other companies.
How did you set it up?
Okay. Right. So basically, like I said, it helps to have a sales background when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because you understand, Wuti, you must hit the top, not the bottom.
Come on.
Right? So how you categorize your clients if you're in sales. So you've got your bronze clients, you've got your silver clients, you've got your gold clients, you've got your platinum clients. Ne? So basically, you'll find that your bronze clients require as much attention as your platinum clients. But your platinum client spend is about, let me use an example. Your platinum client spends about 200,000 a month, and your bronze client spend is about 8,000 rand a month.
Sure.
But you find that the bronze clients is more demanding or as demanding as your platinum clients. So whenever you are targeting clients, you target platinum clients first, because you use them as your anchors.
Come on.
You use them as your anchors, and that's how your business grows quickly. So Mina, I had done a flagship sort of contract for Ilovo Sugar in Woodsburg at Dalton when I was still a waste man.
Yeah.
So when they were looking for a company to renew a contract too, they searched me out, spang tall, and only to find out I'd already had my own company at that time.
Yeah.
So then they said I'm a paper army, and then I submitted them, and we got the work on merit. We didn't get the work because we were the cheapest service provider.
Sure.
We got the work because I'd worked with them before.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they had received excellent service from just being with me as a waste management specialist.
Yeah.
And then after that, again, they were like, no, the end user, this is what's from head office. You see, the end user doesn't want to work with a company A, they want to work with company C. Not because company C is the cheapest, but because they have a good track record with them and have a good relationship with them.
Sure.
So, what I do?
So people buy from the people they like.
Yes, people buy from the people they like. So smile, be nice.
Yeah,
When you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
The customer's not always right. I'm not from that school of thoughts. I don't go with that.
Yeah.
But give the customer what the customer wants.
Sure.
Make the customer look good.
Nice. Yeah.
Make the customer look good in the sense that they will get their audits right. They will pass their whatever things that they're doing. As long as they pass their audits and they look good with management, they'll want to work with you.
Sure.
So you have to do everything. You're going to be accessible, be easily accessible to them whenever they need you. So that's how we started. Our company in 2021 got the Ilovo Sugar contract, and we had registered the business in 2019, and 2020 was COVID.
Yes.
And not only that, we didn't just get the Ilovo Sugar contract. The floods in 2022. When was looting?
This was
2021. Yes.
2021. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was busy trying to save some things at church because people were looting at church.
They were looting at church.
Yeah, it's another story.
Yeah.
Yeah, Imbali people, guys. Imbali people.
Wow.
Guys. Yeah.
Hayi bandla, we're not even going to say anything about God and the rat and yonke into so share kanjani.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, okay, that's how we started. So even when I started the division for the company that I worked for, I look at my sales pipeline. So I look at the clients that I want to have. I look at my pipeline. So in sales, you must always, as a business owner, as a person who's in management and you're trying to grow your client base, you must always have a pipeline. Have people that you're targeting to be your clients. And when you look at the people that you're targeting, look from the top down. Look at the potential of their spend. What potential spend can they spend in your company?
Sure.
And then target them aggressively. And then work your way down.
Sure.
So Minaga had a pipeline, and then I worked through the pipeline when I was in the previous company. So I applied the same system. I learned from the UK, or I learned when I was 19 years old. I've been applying it in my life throughout. So the experience is other people will be like, like as if this is easy.
Yeah.
But that's because I've done this for many years. I've paid my school fees. Basically.
Come on.
You know, I have. When I say I've paid my school fees, I've lost. I've been scared.
Yeah.
I've had been rejected.
Yes.
You know, so
Sure.
when people are like, aren't you scared of being rejected? Aren't you scared of somebody saying no?
That has happened enough.
That's happened enough. I've gone through that enough times for me to say, I'm going to target this client. I want this client, so I'm going to go after this client. And it's easy for me to say that.
Okay. I love the way that you're putting this thing. You're breaking it down.
Yeah.
Let's melt it now.
Let's melt it.
Right.
Okay,
So targeting aggressively. You know. Let's take this media company for example.
Yes.
What would that look like, or the waste company, or how? Just give us an example of how you have done it. What is an aggressive targeting? Because truthfully, if there's aggressive, there's non-aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, how do you do it?
Okay, let's look at a media company.
Okay.
Let's not look at mine.
Okay.
Let's look at yours. Ne?
Yes.
Okay, so if we look at a media company, you have to ask yourself, you have to look at what are the services that a media company can provide into the marketplace.
Yep.
Right? And once you provide those different services into the marketplace, what are the services that cost the most money? Because you've already got the equipment. Ne?
Yep.
You've already got the staff, you've already got the assets basically to use, the resources to use to go into the marketplace. So you ask yourself, similar companies, now this is what you do. We don't fix what's not broken. Ne?
Yeah.
So what we do is we see our benchmark This is an
Sure.
old saying,
Love
but
it.
people no longer use this. So if there is a similar media company that is out there, you ask yourself, Uti, who are their clients?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you find that this media company is a national company, their clients are national clients, ne? Then you bring it down to Maritzburg. Okay. And you say if there's a mass media company that works with Checkers no Shoprite, because Checkers no Shoprite is a company that is a national company. If you had to come back to La, who are the people that are similar to Checkers but head office respect that you can have access to the decision maker? And then what is the work that that media company is doing for Uchekazi, the Shoprite group? And then you look at them, the structure, and then you structure it to the ones that you can now approach. Because you can't go straight to all Checkers, the Checkers group, because they're massive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can still use
The framework.
that framework and then bring it down to. And then if Uchekazi has a media company that works with them, right? Or several media companies that work with them. What are the services that these media companies provide, right? And if they do work with these media companies, do you have some of the similar services within your company? Okay. If you do have, what is another company that is similar to ShopRite that is based in your area that you can work with? Okay. And then once you figure out who they are, right? Then you figure out from speaking to them, what are the services that they require that their current media company is providing to them. And then again, you do a proposal based on that. And then you start knocking on their door. Make sure that you're speaking to the right person. The wheels in the corporate world turn very slowly, right? But that's how you grow. You grow by looking at the companies that are already spending money on the services that you provide. You don't go to the companies and you sell them who are not spending, because it's very difficult for a person who's not spending money in that thing to figure out where's that money going to come from.
Yeah.
But you want to go to the people that are already spending money. Yeah, but and then you'll find out they'll say the company that we've got is on a 3-year contract. Cool. Oh, I'm sure that's serving you well. How about you take our details? If you need any ad hoc work, if you've got race that you guys are doing, if you've got anything that specials that you're running and you need more companies for more visibility, then we'd be willing to just work with you on an ad hoc basis. If you find with the media company that you're working with, something happens, strike, or somebody, you find with it's like family businesses that they work with, maybe something happens tragic that's in the family and they're unable to do the work
there's a
gap. But they must know of you for you to fill the gap. They must be a target of yours for them to know of you. So you must constantly be communicating with them in the space up until they go out to RFQ. They're saying, what media companies are available? They already know of you. They already know what kind of people you are and so on. So I would say, basically, that's the channel that I use for my company. And I am sure it's foolproof.
Yes.
Because I don't think I've used it for years, ever since I started.
That is a masterclass, bro. One like sifunda ngo RFQ.
It's a request for quotes.
Oh my God. My God. That is so powerful.
Yeah. So that's basically what I would say to anybody who's got a business. Just say, look at a business that's similar to yours, that is more large, much more bigger than your company, and then benchmark of them.
Sure.
And then find out who their clients are, and then look at the smaller companies that don't necessarily need that size of a media company and target them.
Sure. Yo, that's amazing. And you are very confident in the way you communicate, and you obviously paid your school fees, right? But what are some of the values that shape the person that you are? Because you need to show up every day as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, and what shapes you, what makes you?
Well, I'm a child of God. I got saved in 2005. just before my dad passed away.
Sure.
So my dad passed away in the September, and I got saved in the. My dad passed away in the October. I got saved in the September. So basically, I've been walking with God for 21 years.
Come
to
on.
be exact.
On the 21st, done.
Lale. Kulo nyaka nje. I'm having a 21st in
that's
September.
amazing.
So I think ukuthi my confidence comes from that. So if I'm speaking confidently, manje, it's not because Khanya is so confident on her own.
Sure.
But more my confidence lies from the fact that I am kept.
Sure.
You know, I'm held. I'm
Yeah.
held up. I'm supported by God, so I can dream freely. I can be very wild in the thoughts that I have about how I want to see my life or the trajectory of my life, based on the fact that if God said He has plans to prosper me, plans to give me hope and a future, it means whatever it is that I want to achieve, as
Sure.
long as I present it to God, it shall come to pass.
Yes.
So
Yes.
those are the values that I hold. Now, obviously, my upbringing, my background, my support system, my community,
Sure.
and also just being a prayerful person and understanding what to fear is something that's going to rise up every single time when we're trying to do anything that's going to elevate us.
Yeah, when. Yeah.
So you have to understand what you need to be prayed up, because there's a word of God that says, to whom much is given, much is required. But I always base it on this: to whom much is given in terms of what is on the inside of you, much is required of you. So your output to the things that you can do, because you've got big dreams.
Yeah.
Based off the fact that you know He will supply all your needs according to His riches and glory.
Yes.
Yeah, when He can do far exceedingly more abundantly than you could ever wish, think, desire,
Yeah.
everything, all the promises are in the Bible. It's a
Sure.
matter of what are the promises that can work for you, for the dreams that you have for your life, for the vision that you have for your life, and how big do you want to go? How big
Wow.
do you want to go with God?
Out of everything that you could do,
Yeah.
right, in your life and your career, then out of everything, why choose to give your heart to Jesus?
That's a hard one. I think to anybody who ends up, there's several ways that you give your life to the Lord. Ne? You either can walk with this thing where you're feeling like you're special all your life. That's how I felt. I always felt like I'm special.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to learn.
Sure.
And I shouldn't have felt like that. I lost my father. My real father was murdered when I was 2.
True.
So I shouldn't have, because I grew up with a stepfather. So compared to Abangani Bambi, who had a mom and a dad, their parents were married. I mean, my parents were married, but it wasn't my real dad.
Yeah.
I didn't have any siblings. I was an only child, and my parents didn't have any children.
Yeah.
My grandparents were from the rural areas.
Sure. Hey, Nkosi yami.
I never attended a
Kukhona indlela
crash.
ethile yokuhlala ecrash.
It used to stress me out leyo, and I couldn't mina ngibabona becross imlenze, and I'm like trying to do this thing.
Yes.
Kodwa mina nje ngangena ka first year ngina 3. Ngoba ugogo wami wayifundisa first year kamgwaqo esikoleni ngaphezulu.
Yeah.
So icrash angiyazi. Do you know what I mean? So I've always felt like there was something special about me. And people used to tell me ukuthi njabona ngisengikhula sengise high school kwakhona or student Christian council, they'd be like, why don't you give your life to the Lord?
Uba know the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think the Lord has always been pursuing me.
Sure.
You know, the Lord has always been pursuing me, and the only reason why I feel like the Lord has been pursuing me is because bengihlezi engikhavile.
Sure.
Mina nje I shouldn't have. Mina ngikhule lokishini deep lokish. Angikaze ngihlale kuma-suburbs. But the fact ukuthi angizange ngilimale.
Yeah.
Mina ngikhule ngesikhathi sodlame.
Yeah.
There were dead bodies that we used to ukuthi mesihamba sesikoleni seqe dead bodies that were died in the night. Yabona.
Yeah.
We used to walk over them.
Sure.
Yabona. I think at some stage I went to 5 different primary schools. Ngoba kuba nodlame nginede ngifika basesebengibiza ngokuthi kushuthi nje la uyakhona ulandela udlame.
Yeah.
So I think all of those things, and eventually going overseas, ngasindiswa mina e-UK, angisindiswanga ngisho le South Africa.
Yeah.
And I think all of those things compounded. I was like, and then I grew up, I was like, there must be something special about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that led me to, and the other people will be like, there must be something special about me. I'm gonna make lots of money. I'm gonna live a good life, whatever. But when I was like, ngeke kuzokwazi ukuthi yonke lento eyenzekile kumina nokuvikeleka kwami up until this point was my own doing.
Sure.
There must have been a man.
Yeah.
You know, ohamba nami.
Yeah.
You know, and when I was able to understand, when somebody articulated to me ukuthi kunjani ukuthola uJesu, then I was like, this is it. And that's how I got saved.
Yo, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And other people ke bona bahamba baye esontweni mhlawumbe emgcwabeni uthola ukuthi kubizwa altar call. Athi umuntu, today is the day. Vandag is vandag.
Base betraumatized ukubona ibhokisi kuthiwa hamba noJesu indlela yonke.
Yeah, so basically people have different stories, and that's my story.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned Uguti, it's important to be a part of a community,
Yes.
and because that shapes
Yes.
who you are,
Yes.
right? Who are some of the people that have played a critical role in your life? You know, could be at home, school, university, wherever.
Yeah.
You know, and what are the specific things you've learned from them?
So I would probably say, firstly, my family. I think ukuthi mina ngikhule ekhaya nginconywa nje ngayo yonke into engiyenzayo.
Yeah.
So I felt very safe to chase my dreams.
So cool.
Yeah, no, I'm very blessed. My mom is a huge blessing to me, and ngikhule ekhaya kanjalo. My mom's always wanted the best for me. Uma ngithole samncane, she was only 17 years old when she had me.
Sure.
So she was a teen mom, and other people have a different experience of having a teen mom.
Yeah.
But mine is like, my mom was like, la ngiya khona ngiya nengane yami.
Amazing.
Yayibona that I
Sure.
don't leave my child behind.
Yeah.
And I also had a grandmother. My grandmother was very strong in the community, all about education. Ube uthisha nje in her community. So ngikhule emndenini onothando ofudumele,
Brilliant.
which then offers you the environment for you to dream, for you to chase your dreams, to chase whatever it is that you want freely.
Yep.
Yeah, and umndeni wami futhi ubukholwa, which was another thing where if you fall, there's always something to catch you.
Yeah.
Ngeke uzuwele njena, just like anyone.
Yep.
Yabona abakhali like Jesu, abakhali like the ones that don't have. So it was that growing up like that, always surrounded by love and support to go after the things that I wanted. Uma ubeza zongibheka mengigijima support me when I was running at school,
nice.
and when I was singing, I'm a solo la payana ngise primary. My mom and my dad were there, so I was very supported, you know. So it made me very confident. I was a very confident child growing up.
Brilliant.
So it's important. Firstly, I think the first community that you have is your family, because you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family.
Yeah.
So sometimes you find that structure is not conducive for your growth, because imndeni ayifani and other families are broken and have isn't there ning, you know. But I feel that I'm blessed, not that my family didn't have indoors but that was the first community I experienced where it allowed me to bloom freely and grow and chase my dreams without fear.
Yeah.
And then as I grew up, obviously there was the church community, which is very important. I would say to anybody okhulisa ingane, hey, ingane zifoseni bafethu ukuthi ziye esontweni. Don't leave your children behind when you go to church, because they're a nuisance and they run around and they cry and you can't listen to umfundisi. Masese yabona spitting bombs laphayana wena usamuza umfundisi awusabusiseki ngoba ingane ziyagijima. But khulisani ingane over there, because that community is so important. It teaches you talents, and it brings out talents and gifts in you that you had not known that exist. But you'll only find them when you're thrown into that kind of space. And then now you dabble in different things. You find what works for me. Mommy's club, maybe youth leader, or maybe a worship team. Mhlawumbe uzwile nje in the shower ubamba notes mase ubamba notes yabona, and then you end up in the prison
being noticed.
being noticed, you know. And then as I grew up, I got to just meet people in the spaces that I'm in the business space. There's like Women in Business. I'm part of a community which is Women in Business, where we have like-minded women that are in business, that are entrepreneurs, that understand understand what it is
Yeah.
like ukuba sebhizinisini and the struggles that we face. So we speak the same language.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
a sisterhood.
Yeah.
And there's also my friends,
Sure.
you know what I mean, that have known me from way back, and then new friends that I've made in the journey of business,
Yeah.
in the journey of life.
Sure.
Yeah, but so those communities, sisters that pray together with me, they know the things that I desire and wish for my life, and they
Yeah.
wish it for me too.
Brilliant.
Genuinely, you know. And then there's also the husband and wife
Bishop.
community.
Bishop covenant.
Lalela covenant,
Yes. Yes,
into
yeah.
solid,
Sure.
formidable force. So I'm blessed with my husband. We work as a team. So he is like my watchtower. That's what I call him. He sees the troubles even before they enter. In our business, he
Sure.
watches over us as a family. So it's good to have that support system, that community for you to thrive, knowing that there are people that will they'll pick you up when you fall apart. You know what I mean? So it is encouraging to
Sure.
have that. I would probably
Yo,
say those are the kind of
that's amazing.
communities. And also, don't be scared to go for incubation programs, enterprise development programs that are out there, because you'll meet people
Yeah.
that you can journey with in business through those programs that are out there.
Sure. Yo, that's amazing. And how did you work it out? When are you going to be the CEO and your husband is going to work under you?
Yeah, I know. Because mina ngu-CEO in the business,
Yes.
CEO in
Ekhaya.
so it's so funny.
Hey,
Uyabona?
hey. Yeah.
So it's so funny because I'm the boss at work, but
Yeah.
he's the boss at home.
Yeah.
But anything that is an interest for me, it falls under ekhaya. So
Sure.
ngisho noma ngu-CEO in
Yeah.
the business,
Yeah.
he's still the leader because he leads me.
Come on.
Yeah, but so
That's amazing.
so that's why it's awesome to have him
Yeah.
in the business. So it didn't just happen as something it was something that happened intentionally for us as a family, because I noticed after some time running a business, he was still working in la esebenza khona, but eventually I was just like, ngeke babakhe, I need you next to me.
Sure,
Yabona, in the
sure.
business, because of his strengths
Yeah.
and his gifts and his talents.
Yeah.
There are things that he's good at, mina engingekho good kuzona.
Yeah.
So it ended up working perfectly for
Yeah,
us.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. How do you then balance ministry, business, and family?
I don't.
How do you do it? How do you do it, man?
So I would say, you don't balance it. Ayikho lento lena where we think
Perfect scales.
there's the perfect scales. It doesn't work. So you just have to show up wherever you're showing up at that time, and just not carry guilt.
And be present.
And be present at
Love
that
it.
moment for that thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yabona? And ungaloku ucabanga lokho ungakwazi ukwenza, because like we're saying, ukuthi, if you're going to be at home, I must be at home, fully
Yeah.
present at
Yeah.
home, as a mom,
Yeah.
as a wife. If I'm at church and I am listening to when at church and I'm in my community, I'm fully present. Yabona?
Amazing.
If I am in my prayer group and we have our prayer meeting, angikwazi ukuthi in my prayer meeting. So my family knows you must be very honest about your desires in whatever space that you operate in. Ne? At church, they must know ukuthi wena uyi-businesswoman. Ngoba bazokubona uma elikhala ucingo uzophuma uye phandle uyophendula. But bangaloke benobona ukuthi also nsabe bezenza special. They know who you are. You don't hide.
You are special.
You don't hide who you are. Nasekhaya, don't hide the fact
Sure.
that you love being a woman of God. You love being a prayer warrior. You love being a bulldozer of the kingdom of God. So when it's time for you to pray, kumele bakuhloniphe ukuthi cha ngeke siloke semngqongqozela manje, uyathandaza simsheni athandaze, uyayibona leyo nto. But if you hide certain things from your people and lokuthi nje I'm going to peel my oranges in my pocket kind of thing, which is very worldly, then people are not going to know who you really are.
Wow. What are some of the struggles you faced in building your business? And yeah,
How much
Just-
time do we have?
just to mention a few.
2 hours.
Look at your. Yeah.
Yo. Sure. Okay. So the first thing that I would say when you're building a business is, don't look at what other people are doing in business. especially nje with South Africa, ungababheka ama-tenderpreneurs and how successful they are and how big their cars are and how big their houses are and how lavish their lives are. Don't look at things like that when growing a business, because a business is tough. Business will take everything from you.
Sure.
You know, it will take your resources, it will take your money, it will take your mental health, it will take your peace, it will take everything from you. So you need to be strong. Don't be afraid to go at it alone, because if you have weaknesses, if you're going to get a partner in business, like a marriage, so make sure that you know that person very, very well in order for you ukuthi ningacabanga ukuthi ungahlanganisa ama-ID numbers wafake laphana ku-IPC documents and register a business with somebody thinking that they're going to show up. Ungamazi, you've spoken to them for 30 minutes and they told you they have interest in waste. Now you're like, oh, I get nami ngenzi waste, kusho sasiqala business.
Let's get wasted.
Don't do that. Go with it alone. See how far you can go. If you are not more confident and feel that they have more expertise and you want to do a joint venture, you register yours, they register theirs, do a JV, do a memorandum of understanding where you can work together. So paperwork. 95% of a business's success is admin. Make sure that you're compliant in business. Make sure that you're staying on top of your game. You know the things that you require in order for your business to scale. Make sure that your staff have contracts. Make sure that you're paying them properly. Make sure that you're saving money for a rainy day, because cash flow you know what I mean. And I think what a lot of businesses during COVID have closed their doors. They didn't see it coming. So it's important to have strategic planning in a business and also invite God as your strategic planner. You know, there are many, like I said, promises, and also there's wisdom in the Bible about how to manage a structure like a business. But abantu abakawathole nabacabanga ukuthi bangawasebenzisa because they feel like the wisdom that comes from the business world is more important than the wisdom that comes from the Word of God. Whether the Word of God is wisdom enough for you, if you apply it in truth, in spirit, and in truth in your business, you'll find what you will learn things that will make you successful in areas where other people don't see success. And then have integrity. Be an honest person. If you're unable to pay your accounts or you're unable to do things, speak openly that I can't do this month. I didn't see that we're going to have this struggle. I even teach my staff in the office. If you cannot service a client, send an email and say, we're unable to come to your site today, we will come tomorrow. Be an open book. I think those are some of the things that I think I've learned in business. It's just don't take it for granted and think you're always going to be on top. You're not going to be on top. You have to make sure you prepare for rainy days. Preparedness, I think, is godly. You know, preparation is very important. So if you're not prepared today, if you're not
because if you're prepared,
today,
you'll be able to rest.
If you're prepared, you'll be able to rest. Preparation is in line with obedience. You know what it is that you're supposed to do. Noah didn't just build the ark.
Yep.
He started preparing to build the ark. He started preparing. Like, if you think about him orchestrating, speaking to his family, being open and communicating what God has told him to do. You know what I mean? And that was counted to him as obedience. So when you have a vision to do business, or you have a vision to grow your family, or you have a vision to enrich your family, you have a vision to sort of break away from the norm and do something that is not usual. Because business, because it's not stable. It can fall apart at any time. You know what I mean? So the minute that you no longer have a stable income, what structure do you have in order to safeguard you? So you can't just be blind. You can't go into these things blind. You have to firstly learn to be obedient child of God. Learn and understand what is required of you as a child of God. And then when you have a business, the same skills that you've learned and the things that the knowledge Angithi, not the spirit of knowledge. No, angikhulumi nge-spirit of knowledge. Mina ngikhuluma nge-knowledge ezihambela yodwa.
Yeah.
Yayibona leyo nto.
Sure.
Angikhulumi nge-spirit of wisdom. Ngikhuluma nge-wisdom.
Nge-wisdom.
Ezihambela yodwa.
Sure.
Maturity, understanding. Ukuphilisana nabantu, knowing ukuthi when to say something and when not to say something.
Yeah.
When to apologize, when a kind word is needed, but when you need to be firm. Yayibona leyo nto. When you need to state your case. Umuntu ayizwe nempression.
Yo.
You know, so I just think ukuthi people mustn't go into business thinking just because they have a dream, they need to understand ukuthi there needs to be preparation, need to read, look at businesses similar to the njengoba ngisho nje I think shila ekuqaleni benchmark, look, read about them, read books, find out ukuthi how does this thing work.
Sure.
The thing about small businesses and the industry of small business in South Africa is there's no structure. There is no structure. Yabona ayifani ne corporate world where there is structure. There's no structure.
Sure.
So you need to get the wisdom and the knowledge to put in systems in your organization and make sure that you're building something stable. Otherwise, everybody runs an informal kind of undertaking or an informal business, and it can fall apart. Kuthiwa wayehamba,
Hey.
wayenamatrack,
Sure.
wayeqoqa udoti.
Yeah.
Awashona pho owethu group.
Sure.
And to stand the test of time, you
That's
need to
amazing.
make sure ukuthi you have structure, you're prepared, you have plans, you have growth strategy. Yabona nje you move.
Oh.
ngendlela efanele.
Yo, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know what you've got your own podcast.
Yes.
That's coming in the next 3 weeks.
Yes.
And tell us about it. And for the sake of our audience,
Yes.
why the podcast specifically?
Yeah. So because of obedience and listening to what the Lord was saying and creating a community for women, kingdom women that are in business, I started an organization or a network that's called Raw Kingdom Business Women. It's online. Yeah, it's on Instagram, but
Yeah.
we're working our way towards that. But the reason why I started this network for women called Raw was to teach women that we are called for business. You said something earlier. You said something about business when you were doing your intro. But it was so profound. But we wisdom kahle kahle ukuthi as children of God, we are called for the entrepreneurial life. We're called for being in business. So when I started Raw, I just thought, okay, after all that I've done and all the knowledge that I've gained, it also makes sense to put it on a podcast. Because I feel like you can reach more people with technology nowadays than you can by word of mouth.
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
So not just Iro is going to grow to being a network where women come together to network, women come together
Brilliant.
to empower each other,
Yeah.
mentorship programs, yonke leyo nto. But before we even get there, let's just have a conversation about where to start
Yes.
where we are, start scared, start, as long as there's a vision, in your heart. And the reason why for me is that it's important to have a business as a woman is not just because of Proverbs 31, of the woman of Proverbs 31, but because the word of God says where there is no vision, the people perish. So everybody has something that they want to do. So it might translate itself into a business or into something that you're going to be doing with your hands because of your talents and your gifts. And the word of God says that if you do not live and do those talents and those gifts for the world, for the kingdom of God, then you are actually wicked. You are wicked. You wickedness. If you're not going to be sharing your talents or your gifts with the kingdom of God, you wickedness.
Sure. Imagine.
I don't want to be wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got an emulation of a popopo here, a cell phone, right? So let's pretend that this remote was a cell phone, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it to you now,
Okay.
right? So imagine a Khanya Buthelezi that is 20 years old.
Oh.
If you were to send her a 30 seconds message, what would you say to her? Speak to her over the phone.
I would say to her, "Empini sothi."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I would say to her, 20-year-old. Okay, so I was still in the UK. at that time. I just got into the UK. Okay, I would say to her, girl, it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out. Life is not gonna be easy, and it's not gonna work the way that you think it will. But you're all gonna give your life to the Lord, and you're all gonna have somebody who's gonna look out for you, just as He's been looking out for you. So continue to dream. Continue to throw yourself into the deep end the way that you've been doing, and things will work out exactly the way that you think they will. You're gonna experience tough times. You're gonna feel like your body and your body's being torn into two, like you're being stripped into two parts of yourself. But it's gonna be hard. Hard seasons are coming, or you make it. You're gonna reach that point where you actually look back and you say, never would have made it. Uyabo? Yeah, so just stay on God. I would probably say that to my younger self. Stay on God, lean in on God, and that's the only way that you're going to be successful in this life. That's it.
Well, drop the mic. What else can I say? Guys, it's been great. Subscribe, like, share. Also follow Raw Podcast, Raw Kingdom Women. We'll put the link in the description below. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a lovely
you.
day. Danko.
Thank you for having me.